sure that you guys heard that. I'm testing out this whole new setup that I've got going on. I want to make sure that it actually worked right. Hopefully it did. We're going to get some kinks out of this system, no doubt, along the way. But let me know if you heard that song that was just playing, or if I just sort of foolishly was dancing around to myself. Because that's going to be really important for what we're going to do next, which is to play this film. So this first film is a film by Mike Dalton. Mike is the owner of Films by Juniper. He is from St. Louis. And this is a documentary that he and his friend Sam Biamonte directed and edited. This was like a personal project they were doing. It's about a musician that they found who makes some super dope and crazy music. It's called Blank. I'm going to wait just a minute. Since we're doing this live stream, I do have a couple of thumbs up. Taylor, maybe you can let me know, if nobody else is letting me know, if y'all heard that music, because I want to make sure before we get started with this piece, I need to make sure that y'all are hearing the music. So give me some kind of feedback, please, people. In the meantime, hope everybody's doing okay. Hope everybody's staying safe, staying indoors as much as you can, staying away from all the people, and helping keep this whole crazy coronavirus in check. Yeah. So I wonder how much the delay is, because I'm still not seeing any feedback from you guys. I need to know if you heard the music. Okay, Taylor says there was no music. Bummer. Okay, I guess what we're going to have to do is we're going to test this out by starting to play the doc here. Taylor says, what music? Bummer, you didn't hear it. Okay, well, hopefully you'll be able to hear the film. I'm going to start playing it. And if you don't hear it, then I'm going to have to start over here. Okay? But let me know right away, as soon as I hit play, if you hear this or not. If you're not hearing it, if you're only seeing it, then we're in trouble. And I got to figure out something else. But you should be able to hear it. So here we go. Mike Dalton, everybody. Blank.
Sometimes this sparks when I plug it in. No, not this time.
I love that transition. This is a fun intro so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause it from time to time, and we'll see how everything's going here. But intro is fantastic. I love this. I love this little sometimes it sparks thing. It kind of gives me this vibes of getting to know him right from the start of okay, his equipment is probably not up to snuff here. And so that's going to be an entertaining piece of this, I am sure. But I love that little transition here. I'm going to go back. This was a sweet transition into the outdoors section here.
Sparks when I plug it in. No, not this time.
Yeah, that pan down on his instruments there into this scene is super cool. I also just want to say I'm curious. Maybe if you're here, Mike, hopefully you're here, you can tell us in the comments what lenses you're using, because I like the vintage look to the lenses here, and the film grain's looking super cool. It's setting me up on this really cool vibe that I feel like we're going somewhere that's exciting. So here we go.
Absolutely no future for my aspirations in making music. There's no fucking major plan. It's better for my creative mind to just kind of not really think about shit like that and just kind of make it.
There's plans and thoughts and stuff.
This is fantastic. I feel like I already know who this guy is. I already feel like I know sort of how he lives his life and his music, and so much of how I imagine that to be is based off of the way that this was filmed and edited. The way that I'm getting disoriented on purpose, I think is really obviously intentional and so well done. I love, I love the rotation of the camera, the funkiness of it, the choppiness of the edit, even right down to the fact of like breaking some rules with his shutter speed or shutter angle, whatever you prefer. He's shooting on a red epic weapon. Awesome. Okay. With some, I don't actually know how to pronounce it. I've never heard of these lenses. Calleri HS primes. But obviously they've made some really unique choices, like to break some rules with their shutter angle and stuff like that really allowed us to kind of get sucked into this disorientation of what's going on. Normally, if somebody did that, I often see it done like by mistake, but this was obviously really intentional to fit who this musician is, because this is a guy who likes disorienting things, as seen by this embodied arm that he has here. Let's keep going.
But really just the only thing I know for sure is just,
You gotta work on this right now, just focus on this.
if I'm able to just continue to work on whatever projects I feel inspired to make at the time.
Sure, I don't think there's a real, I'll let this guy go. Okay, yeah, you go. I think in terms of life, there isn't a time.
The film almost needed like a break at this point, and normally that's something you'd cut out right there. But again, I think it just sort of like this guy just strikes me as such a random dude that having a random shot like that in there that really changes up the pace and is sort of it's disorienting because you don't expect to see that stuff. So super cool.
Timeline for achieving certain things. Very currently, I'm excited about making movies and learning how to.
This is a great interview shot, like for this vibe. Like the fact that he's interviewing by shooting into this circular mirror, this doing all kinds of funky stuff, I find just fascinating. This is actually why I use that as the thumbnail for this video, because that's just a super rad shot.
Get ideas across in a totally different field I've never worked in, really.
The one that I just finished is called Ricky. It's about a man who wants to borrow $22,000 from his mom for tattoos, and then goes to hang himself in the woods.
Ricky?
Wow.
Ricky.
So Mike, I gotta know if this is like, if this is actual footage from this guy's movie. I assume it is, because it seems like this would be actual footage from his movie. But I'd like to know in the comments if you can tell us if this is something that y'all did or if this is something that he did and you inserted in here.
Could I borrow $22,000 for my tattoos?
Ricky.
She's running away from you.
I know, she does that.
That's not nice.
She gets out of the house and runs off.
Oh, really?
Plays where I tell her not to play.
Oh, no.
There's a random old lady in here.
When I perform live,
This is like a guy who, when you shoot this film, you realize you can just do whatever you want. You can break every rule that's going on. Mike says it is his movie that we just saw there. I assumed that was the case. It looked like it had to be. Otherwise, you were like, sort of making it look crappy on purpose. Which is why I wasn't going to critique that part, obviously. But this is like, you meet this guy and you're like, okay, well, we can just do a whole bunch of really random, weird stuff. And not that it's all random, like, but that lady walking in, that old lady, like just this complete random scene. But it works because this guy's really random and out there.
I'm not quite sure what I want the audience to think. I mean, it varies. I think
People that don't really know the music that I'm working in largely, they're probably fucking annoyed or frightened by the music I make.
Okay, pairing this scene up right here, everything that we're seeing with his last line of saying that people are annoyed and frightened by his music if they don't get it, I think that's perfect. Like, the camera movement is like intentionally really shaky here, and then we're in the scene that's just surrounded by graffiti and grunge and old pinball machine and all this random, equipment, and these red and orange tones and the neon in the back and people outside the window. It's just so disorienting, and if you're not used to that sort of environment, like, scary, so I love that.
the best
Also, just like showing the emptiness of the place. It's like there's two people in there, and only one of them's even paying attention to him, and he's sort of like keeping his distance. He's staying 40 feet away from the guy, and that's just one real audience member. The other person's there, it's not even paying attention at all. It just sort of continues to build off of this story of this kind of bizarre out there musician.
I can hope for is, like, maybe when I'm, like, really old, someone will, like, or dead, someone will find all of my recordings and be like, oh shit, this guy made some alright music, or have some, like, newfound respect for it after some time has passed. That's, like, honestly more my dream than
What's this other person that wasn't even paying attention to him? I guess that's his, like, girlfriend or something, huh?
Making a living out of it or anything like that. I think it's just it's better for my creative mind to just kind of not really think about shit like that and just kind of make it.
Wow. This film is like so perfectly that guy, This guy, this musician, whatever his name is, blank. He's like insanely nuts about this film. I guarantee it. He thinks it is the coolest thing he's ever seen in his life, and that it fits him perfectly. Am I right, Mike? Tell me in the comments if I'm right. This guy was absolutely insane about this piece that you did for him, which is awesome. I think that's so cool. So well done. Hats off to you. I think so much of what you did with, like, the way that you approached the filming of this from the perspective of, I'm going to, in the style of the way that I film it and the way that your friend approached it from the edit, that I'm going to make this as weird and disorienting and as experimental as I possibly can. I think that, he was just insanely in love with it. So well done. Oh, Sam's here too. Great. I'm glad you're here, Sam. Really well done job, guys. And this is what I love about this sort of thing is, like, this is so not my kind of thing. Like, I would, and this is like, no, this is not an insult at all, but this is just, like, not my cup of tea whatsoever. But I can fully respect it for what it is, and I can tell without a shadow of a doubt this was exactly what was intended. You were able to execute it. And you were able to tell this guy's story and do it in such a way that the style of it reflected him perfectly. I really have nothing to say in terms of like, hey, you should have done this or you should have done that, which is like pretty rare for me. For people who've seen me do these things in the past, or you've seen me be a judge at WPPI, you know that I'm like, I'm the Simon Cowell of that group. So yeah, for what this is, like I have nothing I can say that's negative about this. Really, just well done. So here we go. I'm testing out this new thing. It's called a Stream Deck. And apparently the first piece of music I played there didn't work, so I got to figure out the kinks of that. But let me know if you heard the applause there. Hopefully you heard the applause. Yeah, so let me know in the comments if you heard that. But here's another thing that we want to do here. This is a community kind of thing here. So if there's other people who do have questions, feel free to put them down there. If you have like a comment you want to say, you want to give some applause to Mike and Sam here, then give them a shout out. Tell them what you thought about this. Also, definitely ask whatever questions that you want, in terms of like, if you have any questions for me or for Mike and Sam who are in the room here as well, feel free to ask those. The next one that we're going to do here is by Jason Belkov. Jason is the owner of Modern Story. He's from West Philadelphia, although not born and raised. But on the playground is where he spent most of his days. And lately he's been chilling out max, relaxing, all cool because of coronavirus. So that's unfortunate. But, it is what it is. Jason, this next piece that Jason did is a brand story, I'm going to call it. It's a documentary, a short documentary, but it's about a specific brand. It's obviously clearly branded. And Jason did everything except for the drone pilot work. So I am excited to show you this one because I liked it a lot. Let's check it out. All right, I just want to start off by saying I know it's a brand story, but by having that long, you had like 7-8 seconds of logo at the beginning, most people are not going to watch it. So it defeats its purpose right at the beginning, which sucks because I really like this piece. But a lot of people are going to click away just because they see a brand and they're like, oh, I don't want a commercial. I understand too that when you're doing something for somebody else, sometimes they have the control of things. But I think that's where you have to be like, nah, I'm the master chef here. This is a term I got from my friend Michael Gevins. I'm the master chef here. And I think that's a bad idea to have your logo on the front because people aren't going to watch it because they're going to see it as a salesy commercial piece. And this film doesn't come across that way. It comes across as a cool brand story. So just get the logo off the front and it'll start us off on a much better note. All right, let's keep going because this is a really cool piece I want y'all to see.
When I was 15 years old, I got a job in the fish factory in my hometown. And I start to work on the forklifts and do all kind of stuff. And there was a lot of money and I loved it.
I love the pacing of this in the beginning. I love where the music comes in. I really don't like this font. Fonts are so subjective, right? But yeah, not a fan of the font or the color there. I feel like it doesn't fit with the vibe of the. It might be way better if it was white. Just the bright blue is just really clashing with everything else that I'm seeing here. I think you put it in the right spot. Like if you're gonna put it there, it goes here on the horizon line. Maybe if you don't do After Effects, find somebody who does and get them to do like a tracking mask here or something, to like, or have them like layer it with the mountains or something to give it some depth and not just feel like it's thrown on top and doesn't fit. Yeah, let's keep going. This is beautiful footage now.
Soon after I got my driving license, I started to drive the fish around the countryside and offer fresh fish to the farmers. And that is my first business that I started. And there I started to sell fish, and I just loved it. After that, I generated my own fish plant in northern Iceland.
The voiceover, I think, is really well done, really well recorded. I'm gonna go back to just this scene here. So normally I would say, like, for my preferences, like, this is too cool. Like the white balance is a little bit too cool, but I actually think for this, it works to keep it so cool like that. Even though he's indoors here, and like you could warm it up a little bit, it's not much. It's not like super cool. Part of the fact is like he's wearing a blue jacket with blue jeans and the blue background, so the whole scene lends to be a little bit more cool. But also, like, his white shirt is a little bit on the tinge of blue there, but I think that's actually, to me, that feels like an artistic choice in this situation, because we're fishing and it's winter and we're out on the water and just feels right here. So yeah, I think that's super cool. I'd love to see like a little bit of a hair light, something to like separate him, because his blue jacket ties in so closely with like the navy in the background here. It'd be cool to see just a little bit of something to separate him there. But I do think it's a nice looking interview setup. I don't think there's really anything wrong with it at all. So yeah, just some comments about that though.
Started to sell fish, and I just loved it. After that, I generated my own fish plant in northern Iceland, and on and on. The fish business is like an addiction. Once you are in it, you can't get out.
So I watched this piece a couple times beforehand, and normally, like, I'm all into like this kind of stuff. Sorry, the
My own
footage
fish
here, by the
plant
way,
in
the footage is just beautiful. Like, I can't say anything wrong about the way that you filmed any of this so far. I mean, it's all just beautiful.
In Iceland, and on and on. The fish business is like an
Those little
addiction.
pieces there,
Once you are in it,
like, I think those are some really cool tricks and techniques, and I think you did them really well. So there's nothing wrong to say about the way that you did that. I would just question whether or not that style lends itself to this type of brand story or not. Because to me, it felt a little bit out of place. Again, there's nothing wrong with the way that you did it. All those things I think you did really well. I think you executed those techniques the way that they're supposed to be done, both with the transitions as well as the sound effects and that kind of thing. But I just question, again, like, whether or not that fits with this vibe. To me, it doesn't feel like it fits with the vibe. It feels like it's trying to be a little bit too trendy, and these people aren't trying to be so trendy. They're trying to be like, like raw, natural, much more organic feeling. And so I just question whether or not that fits the vibe of this piece. And you know that better than I do, but that's my sense of it.
can't get out. And we fishmongers in Iceland,
Really good tight shot.
all the guys that I know, we ask each other, well, what is it about fish that we can't get out? I guess part of it is the money, and it's excitement. We are handling a very expensive commodity. To put up a fish plant like I have here in Iceland, we are processing for $25-30 million a year in this small company. And if you do the things right, it's very, very rewarding.
I think that really long, that like super long transition there. Normally I'm not into those again, but like that works there. Like all these things are you got to use the right tools for the right job. And like right there, I think that's great. It kind of brings like the freshness of it right here into, this room where they're processing the fish, and it helps me feel that these things are fresh. So that was nicely done.
So every day, our aim is that the fish that was caught yesterday is in our factory in the morning, and we process it before noon to ship it out in the afternoon, so our customer can have it in their store at night, US time. So on day 3, it is on customer plate.
Nice. It's really well put together.
We are a family-run company. It's on me and my wife, and I look at all the workers in the factory as my family. And the harmony is that I am not a big boss sitting up in an office. I am in there with them, and there is nothing in the factory that I cannot do, and they respect me very, very much for that. And that is actually how I keep everything running on this speed. They feel like a part of that. It's like a football team.
I want to make a point here. I think this is because this is so well done here, the way that you're tying in the interview with the B-roll footage that you've got here. And I feel like it's paced really well. So the point I want to make to other people who are watching is that you really want to make sure that you're doing the interview first and then going and doing the B-roll, because as you're doing this interview, you're going to learn what needs to be filmed. Because you're going to be like, oh, that's a good point. The fact that this is the CEO and he knows how to work every piece of this thing. He knows how to drive the forklift. He knows how to clean the fish. He knows how they want it loaded, and he's in there doing it hands-on. So you know this in advance because you did the interview first, and then you go do the B-roll. So if you're new to this sort of thing and you're in pre-production for something like this, make sure you do the interview first. And it's clear to me that either he got lucky or he did that first so that he knew what to get when it came to the B-roll stuff.
So the reason why we hand cut all the fish is that we get a way better yield than doing it by machines, and that allows us in the hard competition to pay higher price on the auction and get the fish that we need to serve our customer. So all our fish goes to US fresh, and we sell it to retailers, we sell it to seafood wholesalers, and then they sell it forward to their preferred customers. About 95% of our production goes to America. So what we pack is, we pack everything fresh. We mostly process cod, pollock, haddock, and Arctic shell. Probably the reason is that these are the most expensive items also. The most important quality is the fish quality.
I feel like you're really good at transitions. And one of the things but this last one to me just feels weird, the transition with the focus.
Items also. The most important.
I think it's because it's got so much color and there's so much vibrancy and diversity of color here, and then we go into this thing that's like mostly white is covering up the whole frame. So to me that kind of like in camera transition doesn't really work, and also I think you have to do something like a few times in one piece to make it work. So doing a technique like that one time sort of, it feels out of place. Sort of like the other thing I was talking about with some of the sound effects, like the whoosh and stuff like that. It's like there's got to be some sort of a rhythm to it, or else it feels out of place if it's just kind of in there every once in a while.
The important quality is the fish quality. Then there's another quality called delivery quality, and that is as important as the fish quality. Because if you only deliver every third order of a finest fish in the world, but you cut that also short 50%, then what can you do? Nothing. So you have to deliver every time, and nothing can stop you from delivering except crazy weathers.
Nice. Really well done. Here's one little super picky thing. You can take that little, that white background and just delete the white background in Photoshop or something. Make it transparent and then put it on here, and that would kind of feel like it fits better, because this is just a little bit off-white around the edge and then white there, and it feels like it was kind of not intentional. Yeah, really good. Super good piece, man. I dig it. Well done. I think that deserves some applause. Awesome job, Jason. This was super cool. I know that this company is coming back for more after this, because this was super well done and they've got to be psyched about it. In fact, I was thinking that when I watched it the first time, but I did talk with Jason and kind of confirmed in some private messages before that this was like the first piece of something much bigger that he did for them, or that he's going to do for them. And it sounded like to me, and maybe I read this the wrong way, but that they were sort of like testing him out with this, and he passed with flying colors, because now he's turned them into a bigger client that's going to do more and more work. So amazing job. Well done. You got your at bat with this company, and you hit it out of the park, and now you get to keep going and get more at bats with them. So that's really awesome. You should be super proud of yourself. So well done, my friend. Well done. Hopefully this was helpful to you. And if you guys want more videos like this, let me know. Give me thumbs ups once this video is over. So the way that these live videos work is like the comments that you're doing now, they're sort of there, but they're not in the regular comment section. And so it helps out with the YouTube machines, the bots, the algorithms, if you leave a comment in the actual video afterwards. So leave a like, leave a comment, give a massive shout out to Jason, to Mike and Sam for these awesome pieces that they made. And be sure to subscribe as well, because we're going to be doing more stuff like this. I want to give you guys some stuff to do during this whole mess, this whole quarantine that we're going through. It's rough times for everybody, and we can come together as a community and make it through it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.